They're all sitting here on a Friday, finishing up. Hopefully you've all had a cracking week. And the details and your experiences and what you're doing. Really excited actually about to hear about what you're doing and what we can learn from it. And as always, if I could just have that sort of 30,000 view looking downwards on what you do, Aaron, and just a brief intro.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I work in marketing and I run a marketing agency called Social Agendas. This is our logo. This is our merch. No cheap plugs. But I've been doing this for 5 years now. We help businesses grow their sales, which when it comes to the digital marketing space, we focus on performance marketing, which is we live and die by the results that we generate for clients. So if it goes well, we get extremely well praised. If it doesn't go well, we're always on the chopping block because we're always in the business of aggressively growing our clients' businesses. The way we do that primarily is through Facebook and Instagram advertising, but then secondary to that, it's content marketing. Thirdly to that is email marketing. And it's really just every stage of a funnel, which means attracting, engaging, converting customers, but then keeping them engaged and keeping them purchasing. And that's for e-commerce stores as well as personal brands, which of course, you know, me and you've discussed is a huge part of what we do as well. So in a nutshell, I mean, I could talk about it for hours, but that is the most brief description I'd give.
Awesome, brilliant. I'm sure most people have checked out your profile, and actually when I said about getting you on as a guest, a lot of people are already following you anywhere, and there's a few people that really like what you do, so that's awesome. So thanks for that, Aaron. So what I want to start with, the really important part, and actually I've just come off a Clubhouse room about this, is how important right now is branding and marketing. And the fact that we're in a lockdown, I believe there's some people that perhaps have started social media, they've dipped their toe in. There's people that have really gone hard, and especially I've even seen it now. It's a little bit late to Clubhouse, and I suppose we're not even late really because it's still new, but there are people that have had a massive conversion who've got thousands and thousands on Clubhouse, which has spiked their Instagram, which essentially if they've got a business has spiked their business growth, clients, so forth. So how important right now, of potentially last 3 weeks before people go back off the furlough, well, hope so, how important right now is it to go hard on your branding and marketing?
That's a really good question. So the first thing I'd say is it's always very important, but recently, and I was just having a conversation on a call earlier with some clients, which highlights what I'm about to say next really well, which is you can grow your business, of course, over a long sustained period of time, but the way that we actually grow companies and grow our own company as well, we're at 19 staff members in-house now. We got a really diverse, you know, client portfolio, and we do it in sprints, right? We do it in short sustained bursts of energy. And then we're either in 2 phases, which is expansion or contraction in our marketing campaigns, which means that can dictate how much you're spending on adverts. If you're running adverts, that can dictate how much content you're putting out, how much time you're spending, what we call just face to camera, which everybody on this call who's built any kind of, I've recognized a few of the names already. It's great to have some familiar faces, but anybody who's done any face to camera work know how time consuming it can be. And if any of you are like me, sometimes it feels like, wow, why am I on the camera right now when I've got 2 phone calls, which are much more important with existing customers or investors or projects and partnerships and whatever else is. So back to the question, it's extremely important right now because during lockdown, everybody's aware that there's a lot more screen time taking place and there's a lot more attention up for grabs. Now, it's interesting that you reference Clubhouse, and for, I'd say the digitally savvy community. So I got invited to Clubhouse quite early and I never went in on it because there's a risk and there's a reward to your social media activity. And I'd really stress this to everybody who's on this call. And the risk is you can over leverage your time on something new and abandon everything that's got you to the place where you already are and the success that you've already built. And as long as you've transacted one deal, one partnership, one customer, you know, acquisition journey through your social media in some sort of way, what I've seen is there's been a mass abandonment of what's got people to certain results already in their businesses. So yes, you know, new platforms just on that tangent are great. A lot of people are leveraging, a lot of people are collaborating more on the platform like Clubhouse, but the core route to success with any kind of social media marketing, building your brand, getting your message out there, comes from leveraging one of the platforms extremely well. And we call that your hero profile, right? So some people have got a huge Clubhouse, they've got nothing going on elsewhere. Some people have got huge Instagrams, they've got nothing else going elsewhere. Some people have got nothing huge, but when I say huge, guys, I'm not referencing numbers either. I'm referencing influence. I'm referencing how many customers. And the best example I have of that is, you know, we've run adverts from pages that have no likes and generated tens of thousands of pounds in sales. So it doesn't have as huge of an impact as a following goes, as some might think. But yeah, the short answer after the long answer is it's always important. Just because lockdown's here doesn't mean that when lockdown finishes, we all abandon focusing, growing our brand, growing our marketing strategy. If anything, the war has just begun, because we go back to normality, or some sort of restrictions are lifted. Now people are back out in the economy, back out of restaurants, bars, pubs. There's a lot more stimulus out there being absorbed, and that means the war for attention just got 10 times harder. The only thing that is apparent right now is people have more attention to give. So if you are going to go hard, and you have to choose when you take your sprint period, now might be the best time. But equally, as soon as that new lift in restrictions comes, that's where it all begins, equally as importantly. But all the time, man, we've got to push our brands all the time, do it in short sprints. You just mentioned before we've jumped on, you know, you've hit that peak in terms of output and performance, and now you're aware and you're self-aware enough to recover from that. And the same is true with your social media. If you hit it hard 6 weeks, 4 weeks straight up, all the way, you know, on it, and then you need to recover, you need to rest, you need to plan, get clear on your offer, understand what it is you're putting out there, and then go ahead and sprint after you've recharged. But yes, always important is my answer.
It's a great answer. I absolutely love that, and I agree with everything you've just said. And this is something I've just touched on Clubhouse. Is there's a few points I just want to pick up there and really confirm with everyone on the call, is not to spread yourself too thinly. I totally agree with what you're saying about something that you've been building that has got you to a certain place, then suddenly abandoning it and almost forgetting about it. But also I understand that there has been a drop off in regards to Instagram's engagement. So people are thinking, right, I need to get on Clubhouse because my engagement's dropped. At the same time, you still got to stick with that core, you know, platform that built you to where you are. Also, the fact that this is something I'm a big believer in, is not getting caught up with who's got the biggest following, what other people are doing, because I believe that holds you back. You know, like you say, you've gone and generated thousands of pounds worth of business for the companies that perhaps aren't that big in their profile, but behind that, the business was the model that sold the products, or however you generated that revenue. So I'm a real big believer in that, and not spreading yourself too thinly and doubling down. Also, the fact that if you're not involved in social media, you can get left behind. So it's kind of that double-edged sword. You have to be involved in it, you know, because otherwise, if you've got no presence, how are you going to tell anyone that you're doing? Because to be honest, who uses a standard website that hasn't got a link to their products, their social media, stuff like that, you know? So amazing points. And I agree with everything you've just touched on there, and believe a lot of what you've just said as well. So that's awesome. So something else that keeps coming up time and time again is, this is something that you touched on there, but it leads into my next point, is how to get a return on your investment and time that you're putting in. Because there's nothing worse for me to look busy, but I'm earning nothing or doing nothing. So that's a big thing for me, is, and for everyone on here, is that we're putting hours and hours and hours in. And don't get me wrong, the hours need to be put in, but you need to get a return on investment on the time that you're putting in. So the question is very clear here. How do people start to monetize if they don't believe they're an expert in a certain field, or they don't believe they've got the right product, but they're spending hours, but they're never pulling the trigger to go, right, I need to monetize here?
I'm just writing it down because I'm going to babble on and go here, there, everywhere.
Do it.
You're triggering me, dude. These are the questions that we answer every single day for our clients, because Again, we all have a very short amount of time and output as business owners, as business people, that we can afford to be face to camera. So then it becomes about how do we build systems, right? So when you look at the different, I'm just going to focus on Instagram as a platform. And the reason I'm going to do that, guys, is because Instagram is predominantly over the last 5 years, the highest return on investment platform that we've used as a business. That's not just in terms of the organic posting side of things. I'm talking about for our own business. Of course, Facebook ads has a much bigger audience than Instagram. So we've transacted more for client campaigns on there. However, for generating new business, service-based business, Instagram has been our go-to platform. Now, there's obviously LinkedIn, which is a huge, huge resource and network of professional people, which is great. There's Clubhouse recently. There's the old school. It's crazy to think Facebook feels like it's an old platform now, right? But a lot of people have abandoned Facebook unless it's interacting in groups, unless it's in the private communities that they've joined on that platform. And because there's so many, the whole idea is to focus on one. So for us, that was Instagram, because we got results from that platform. Now, how do you automate that is the biggest step towards generating yourself an actual lifestyle where you don't have to be face to camera 24/7, which is exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting. So the first thing we do, and the first thing I'd recommend any of you do, is try to somewhat automate the activity on the account. Now, people take this sometimes too far, and they try to automate the next 90 days of posts. The big downside that we've seen from that is it becomes very off topic and off current trends. So if there's, lockdown announcements just happened, but everybody's pre-programmed their social media for the last 90 days, it doesn't talk about the lockdown. It doesn't talk about the current things that are happening in their business in response to the climate. You become out of touch with your marketplace. Now, it doesn't just have to be the economy. It could be news in your industry. So what we recommend is a 14-day window. So if you're going to be posting feed posts and you sometimes struggle to find that content in a day, just scheduling out 14 videos and images that can go out on your feed in different themes. Okay, so you've got 14 posts. Let's say you're going for one a day as an average. So sometimes you might post twice a day, but one a day on average over 14 days. The next step that we'll take with the client is we'll break that down into themes. So we can call them themes, we can call them bins or content bins, whatever you want to call them. And here are a few content bins that are always in every campaign. You've got personal branding bins. So these are just shots of you doing whatever it is you do. So if you're raising investments, maybe you're showing yourself pitching on a whiteboard, you're showing yourself pitching on a site, maybe you're showing yourself on your laptop on a call like this. That's one part of it, the personal branding. That ties nicely into documentation. So again, you doing what you do on a day-to-day basis, on a normal day-to-day basis, by the way. It doesn't just have to be exactly. Now you say to yourself, well, how do I do that efficiently? And the way that we do it with clients, all of our personal branding clients, we shoot it all in one day. So we don't just do 14 days worth. We take one full day out of their schedule. Because clients come to us and say, I don't have time, Aaron. I don't care to be taking photos and videos of myself every other day. Who has the time? I don't have the time. So we shoot it all in one day, change outfits, change shirt, change jacket, put some sunglasses on, and put some, not right now, but maybe put some blue light blocking glasses on. All of a sudden, you've got multiple different days of dynamic content. Of course, other content themes could be testimonials. It could be case studies you guys have that are in business. It could be anything around those different themes that are relevant to your business. Now, all of a sudden, you've taken a weight off your shoulders because you know you're going to be present. You know that there's no matter what, if you don't lift a finger, you've scheduled this content. So it's going out, it's reaching your audience, which again, allows you to leverage back some of your time. And the way that we promote running social media accounts for the monetization, which I'm going to get to next, is you focus on the story, you focus on the live content that you can drop, which is those 15-second segments when you press the button and hold record, where you're either face to camera or you're documenting what's going on live right now. Now, the question is, why am I promoting this? It's because it builds trust. The hardest thing to gain online is trust. When you show pre-planned, well-positioned content that gives a certain element of progress on your trust meter with a new prospect, right? Somebody, I'm just going to use investment because look, it's relevant. For those who don't know, we just raised £200,000 in 4 days organically using this method on Instagram. And that was 3 weeks ago in investment pledges. That's going to go live at the end of next week. We're actually collecting that cash, and that's for a app that we're building called Deliver Me. But we built a campaign video before the video even got out. We put it out on social media. The pledges filled up in 4 days. The video wasn't even finished. That's how powerful this stuff is, and we need that funding to launch the product to market. So it really does work, and you're catching me at a good time because I've just come off the back of this, and even I was surprised. I can't say I anticipated that kind of turnaround. We launched it 3 weeks before the date because we wanted to give ourselves 3 weeks. We wanted to run ads. We wanted to make sure we got it, and literally organically, the pledges just came in and in and in. So we need trust. And before anybody invests, before anybody parts with their money, before they make a transaction with you online for whatever it is, investments, coaching, online products, information products, whatever it is, they need to have trust. What's the easiest way to build trust? Knowing that you're working with a person, a personal brand, somebody who's put their name to their products, right? Instagram automation with your feed posts, and then of course, using live posts on your stories and documenting, that helps you build that trust. Now, that's your top of funnel. That's where you're getting your awareness. Now, how do you go from awareness, which is where you're spending all your time, educating, inspiring, documenting, personal branding, and how do we take that from the top of the funnel, and how do we get that into the next phase, which is a conversation? And the simplest answer I can give you guys is you ask for it. And this means not asking for a sale, not asking for a transaction, asking for a conversation, because that is your second conversion goal in your social media funnel. First conversion goal is attention. Second is a conversation. Once you have that conversation, either through outreaching to people who you feel your products are relevant to, right? And I can dive deeper into this later. You can either outreach and get people's attention, or you can run advertising on the content that you've built and drive attention towards you. Or you can do both, and both supplement each other, because the people you outreach will then end up in your retargeting audience, and they'll be receiving your ads forever and ever and ever again, which is the greatest feedback I can ever get from any client who signs up with us. Why did you sign up? We always ask. I couldn't stop seeing your face. You must know how to keep my attention. I want to do that for my customers, right? And then look, once you've had that conversation, let's wrap it up. Boom. You can talk about getting onto the next conversion goal, which for significant high ticket investments, high ticket information products, whatever it is that you're selling, that is usually a human to human interaction over a phone call, over a Zoom call. But that depends on your sales process, which again is a whole other question. So in short, how do you monetize your social media? You focus on getting attention, you automate that system as much as you can, draw back your time. Why do you need your time? Because once you've had a conversation in the DM, they're going to be on a booked call. That's where you can actually spend your time doing what's most important for your business as the leader, as the guy or the girl pushing forwards, making those transactions happen and building those customer bases.
There's amazing insights there, Aaron. And I just want to open up to gallery view, because this is something that is really, for those that I can see the faces, or even just those that can hear, just by putting Guy and whoever was on the Clubhouse call a minute ago, just if people can just put a Y or a no just in the chat, because this is something that's really relevant. Is you just said about shooting all your photos in one day. So it's something very similar to what I'll do. Is if I know that I'm going to have some dead space or some time that I can do some photos, do a couple of changes, and just bash out my content and really batch it, because I do a lot of batching work. Who struggles, who wants to commit more time to social media and tell people what they're doing, which is what we all need to do, but just cannot get around to doing, just can't find the time, or just thinks, right, when in the day am I going to take a load of photos and post and hashtag and stuff like that? Yeah, so I know that this is a feeling where people just struggle. And like I said, for me, a lot of my posts I'll do in regards to imagery. I'll take the photos when I'm working in my office. Just, if I've got time, half an hour, couple of changes, boom, I'll get my photos. My write-ups, Aaron, I'll do when I'm in bed. When everyone is asleep and the world has stopped, I'll stay up the extra hour and a half if I need to, and I'll just do all the write-ups. So come the morning, come the afternoon, the following day, I literally copy, paste, boom, done. So that's how I run it. So that's a really important point, something you just mentioned there about actually finding the time to do it. Another point you just said there, this is something that I do day in, day out. And Shane, I'm gonna point this to you, because Shane is someone who just takes massive action. Shane learns something and then goes and does it, and I love it, and I can't wait to see what Shane does. But me and Shane have been having one-to-ones, and the next phase, like you said, Aaron, is LinkedIn. I don't use it so much anymore to prospect, but I used to prospect. Like you said, you go through these stages. You find the client, you build the rapport, then it's about the trust. It's not necessarily selling yourself a hard sale, laying yourself on their back, but criteria, conversion, just letting them know what you want to do, and if there's a possibility of working together in the future. The next time Shane and I are doing a one-to-one, I'm going to show him exactly how I call a brand new family office that I've never spoken to ever, but I'm going to show him my conversion rate on how I can open up a conversation and come away knowing that I can follow up with a call. And then Shane's going to do it, I'm going to do another one, and we're going to go back and forth calling. And that comes down to what you just said, the trust, about being a people's person, about rapport, about being a relationship. And this is going to relate to someone on here, actually, and it'll probably make them laugh, but there's a certain individual I know that closes many doors because of their attitude. And more for them. But yeah, so big believer in that. Loved what you said. So I hope everyone sort of took some real notes there. Okay, so in regards to online presence, some people like social media. There's a burnout period. Like you said, I like the way that you categorized it in sprinting periods. For those people that it's not their favorite to be on social media, on online presence, but they need to be in order to grow their business, what little tips or takeaways for those who perhaps haven't got the amount of time as other people have? What little things can they be doing in regards to consistency? Once a day, if they're going to post, make it a valuable write-up. What, for those who don't have the time but need to be involved, what little tips or takeaways have you got?
I mean, there's a couple of things that you just mentioned there. One was people who don't like it and don't enjoy it. And then the second was people who don't have the time because they have high priority tasks. And the first thing I did when I launched Social Agendas, no clients, 5 years ago, was start taking photos. I got a camera on a credit card for curries. I asked my partner, who's now my fiance, to come and take some photos of me walking around in a suit. Went to the train station. I went to a restaurant where they had a dinner party behind me, which was quite awkward. But I had different color ties. It's all on my Instagram, but obviously I don't recommend anyone tracks back that far. But that was the first thing I did. And I used those images just to show people and say to people, this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I believe in. So that was the launch pad for me. And it was the first thing I did. So I'm a huge believer and understand hugely how this can impact the growth of getting deals done and business transacted, because the only thing I had time to do, and then of course, as the business grows and develops, you have to become more efficient. But the core thing was I knew what I was getting out of it, or at least what I wanted to get out of it when I started doing it. Now, those people who haven't fallen in love with it, I mean, it's hard to love. It's exhausting at times. It's very, there's a whole dark side of putting yourself out there on social media, running ads. You're inevitably going to be trolled. You're inevitably going to attract the wrong people because those audiences are so wide, and it takes a certain level of resilience and confidence to overcome those negative people and those toxic people who are going to come and comment on your stuff. But for somebody who doesn't want to do it, or somebody who doesn't feel confident of the result that they're going to generate because they don't have a strategy, they don't have a plan, they don't have a funnel, They're just putting content out because that's what the latest Clubhouse episode was, just putting content out for content's sake. Where's the funnel? Where is the follow-up? The main thing, I'm actually going, our next Social Agendas hoodies, guys, we've actually got something that we're going to put on the back of them instead of the logo. And it's the phrase, persistence pays. Persistence pays. And this goes across our social media activities. The best tip I can give anybody, just persist. Whether that's persisting with your content, but more so, I don't just post content on my profile and hope that the world's going to come to me. I run adverts in hope that the right people will come to me. So if you don't have time, the best thing to do is straight away, just start running adverts. You pay for your time to be removed from that platform to get the result quicker and in higher volumes. However, if you don't have the ad spend or you don't have the skill set and you're unaware of how to actually use Facebook ads, then you need to invest in learning that and then running those ads for yourself or hiring an agency to run those for you. But if you don't want to run the ads, you have to start putting content out there. You can't just wait for the whole world to come to you. That's not how business is done. You have to get yourself out there. And the way that we do that, and the most incredible method that you wouldn't believe, I've worked with people twice this week. I've been with 2 agencies because we have 2 sides of my business. We've got the 80 to 90% of our revenue comes from done for you services. We do Facebook and Instagram ads, we build content, we build email campaigns, we manage funnels, we consult for businesses on their in-house teams and how they can scale up their own, in-house marketing efforts, not agencies. And then we've got the other side, which is agencies and individuals who want to essentially replicate the success of Social Agendas and how much we've grown. And I was with 2 of those types of agencies this week for Tuesday and Thursday. And both of them came through the door after taking so many courses, every trick in the book when it comes to converting, closing deals. I actually don't like the term closing anymore because it implies that there's only something in it for you. Whereas if you say I've signed a deal or I've signed someone up, it's actually a win-win situation. And they come through the door, they've spent and invested tens of thousands in their education, and they're no further along to generating consistent inbound inquiries where people are saying, hey, Aaron, take 50 grand and invest it in this app that I know nothing about yet, right? That's the level of interaction that this method can get you. And the simplest method, guys, to get your investors, to get your business going, to get those transactions leveled up is to automate your outreach. Go and find people on Instagram. And I'm going to give this one to you guys because I know it's very relevant for agencies. However, it works on personal brands as well. It works for people. So Instagram is a database, guys. I want you to switch the way you look at the social media platform. It's not a hobby. It's not anything other than a lead sheet database for you to go and transact inquiries and generate appealing inbound inquiries to your business. Now, it shocks my students when I show them this method, and it's quite simple. You've got a client, let's say they're on Instagram, guys, let's say they're an investor in your business. That investor will have certain qualities. Now, that investor will have so many data points on their profile, on Instagram, on social media, that if you go to their profile, you tap on their following list, right? So who they're following. As soon as you get on there, don't worry about the people they're following. There's a nice little tab on the right of it that when you swipe across is your suggested tab. Now, this tab is the most underutilized tool on social media, especially on Instagram, because what Instagram has done is it's telling us we are going to remove all the administration of you finding people similar to your client. We're going to do it for you. We're going to show you only relevant, similar businesses or business people, active profiles, so you know that the algorithm is showing you somebody who's active on the platform. So it's not a dead profile, which means a dead end when you're outreaching, a waste of your time. And those 2 things combined alone can allow you to get the volume of outreach that you require in order to get the attention and the volume of booked calls that you need to make your funding for your next round or your project or whatever it is that you might be trying to get off the platform. It's going out and having the right language and the right system in your sales process, accompanied by, because what happens, And I'm sure, you know, I'm looking at all of you guys right now, and I'm sure you guys are quite similar to me and get outreached all the time by other businesses, I bet a lot of you get approached by marketing people. I get approached by marketing people every single day. And the overwhelm of those messages are usually, here's my service, I think I can help you, you're maybe doing something wrong. What's the first thing I do when I get a message? I'll go to their profile. I'll go and have a quick snapshot of who is this and why should I take them out of my requests folder? Do they even get into the conversation? And the first conversion goal with that outreach method is getting a reply. And one of the best ways to get a reply, guys, from anybody, whether it's an in-person networking event or an online networking event, is simply to give a compliment. Tell somebody what they're doing well. Tell somebody what you like. Tell them that you enjoyed their social media post about X, Y, Z. Tell them you enjoyed looking at the project that they just invested in. It looked amazing. Who was it that was involved in that deal? That's incredible. I'd love to know more about that. Show a genuine interest. Now, if you do this 50 times a day, it's almost impossible when you accompany that with a strong content plan with images, video, stories. They get the message, they like the compliment, they're making a decision, they go to your profile of if they're going to reply, they look at your profile, they like what they see, you come across trustworthy, you've got diverse, pieces of content, you're on your story, so they know you're active, you're live right now, and they give you a reply probably 70% of the time. Now you're in a conversation. Now your activity has actually got a tangible result, which is a conversation. And like I said, with the funnel, guys, get your convos up. As soon as you get your convos up, get your book links out. People are now booking in calls. And with those 2 students who I brought in, tens of thousands of pounds deep into their progression, oh, how do we do it? You just message people who are relevant. The first problem is, you don't know where to find them. We've just solved that. The suggested tab is the holy grail of what we do in our company. Then, guys, you know what? I'm going to give you everything. Then you max out your outreach numbers. So you're saying to me, Aaron, I'm killing it. I've just raised 40 grand, 50 grand last week. This is a real story, by the way. Absolutely smashing it. I'm funding all my projects with strangers, people I've just met, had 2 calls with. They've sent the money over, right? Especially our property clients. And I'm at a max. Instagram is banning me and disabling my ability to send messages out because there is a threshold because they don't want spam. So what do? If some of you have team members, if some of you have partners, if some of you have somebody who is a stakeholder in your business that has a profile you can leverage, you can start duplicating their content strategy and running the same system off theirs. And then it will get to a point, guys, where we've got to today, which is we can't actually hire and train staff members quick enough for the demand that we can generate. So now we're just capped by the personnel. So our job right now, I've become Mr. Recruitment Agency. I'm just constantly looking for talented marketers who can join my army, my brigade, so we can get more people outreaching on the profiles and generating more business. And that's how we do it.
I love
Not a lot for a Friday night.
No, that's awesome. And you just touched on something there. I hope everyone took loads of notes there because there was golden stuff there. You just said it, and this is something that when I have a lot of my one-to-ones in regards to how do we actually contact high net worths, so this is something, Aaron, I don't know what you think of this, but this is something that, I used to do, not so much anymore, but I would use the same method, is that LinkedIn, for example, there's so much money on LinkedIn, right? It's just a case of finding those individuals. This is something that I would do. I know some of you I've had one-to-ones with, but I have my data research day where I connect, I find the right people, I do a little bit of background checks on them, company's house, I find out about them, and there's a source that I use to find out about these people. I don't then send the messages straight away that day because it gives off this image. If I was to connect with you, Aaron, on LinkedIn, connection, you connect with me 1 minute later, and then you've got a red little message in your messaging, and it's as long as a Harry Potter book. There's no way I've typed all that up within 35 seconds. So there's no personality there. There's no sort of time taken out. Whereas what I will do is I'll have my data research and connection day. And then say on a Friday afternoon, when everyone's feeling good, they're finishing work, that's when I prospect. And I make my messages very tailored, I'll always ask questions. So I would say something like this, for those of you that heard it already, sorry, but instead of having that big corporate, use me, I'm going to make you money, blah, 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 it would be something like this. I'd say, hi, Aaron, came across your profile last week, just managed to get around to drop you a message, read through your bio, see what you're doing with social agendas. It's awesome. Hopped onto the website, what you're doing in regards to brand building, that looks amazing. I wondered, would it be okay if I just nab a couple of minutes at a time and ask a couple of questions? All the best, Aaron. I believe my chances are so much higher of you now replying to me than rather me sending you this big book of a real robot message. And then I just increase my chances. In that first stage, I believe that my conversion rate with an investor with a high net worth, I'm pretty confident that I'm like a 75% conversion rate. So as soon as we build that bit of rapport, I'm not going to hard sell you. I want you to be intrigued. I want to know about you and your business. And then as soon as I get you on the phone, boom, I'm pretty confident that me and you are going to be working together. And if not, like you said, your suggested contacts and stuff like that. And even the power of referrals, even if you turn around to me and say, no, it's not for me, I'm going to turn around to you and finish that call by saying, okay, brilliant. Is there anyone within your network would massively appreciate a little point in the right direction if you know of anyone? Again, you're either going to say yes or no, and you might point. So I love what you just said about making it personal. But again, whoever your target market is, you've just got to make it relevant to them. So I loved all of that, and I use a lot of your methods. So
one note I'll just add as well that ties into what you've just mentioned there on LinkedIn. So we have generated results on LinkedIn using the same method, although it's not in the same volume because the inbox in LinkedIn is savage at times.
Yeah.
I don't even go and look. I don't even look anymore. And we miss opportunities, but there's tons and tons of inbounds. One method that we introduced, which increased our reply, which is the first conversion goal, guys, is sending every sentence as single lines, never sending a paragraph. Every sentence, every time you put a full stop, always make it short, sharp. Hey, love your profile, Aaron. Love what you're doing. Seen the website. Amazing work. Have you got a team working on this? And then obviously a relevant question, just very complimentary, because look, the thing is, guys, that as entrepreneurs, we sometimes discount is they don't know why you might be contacting them. It could be a brand partnership. It could be an investment opportunity. It could be that you've got funds that you're looking to get in on projects with them. Nobody knows what you're actually reaching out for until that conversation is sparked. And the assumption that is sometimes made is that regardless of whoever that is on the end of the conversation, you're going to make an offer, you're going to do business, is the wrong assumption. Because if you guys are anything like me, I'm turning down more, business than I'm taking on simply because it's not the right fit. It's not the right person, tone, vibration, that spiritual energy is really important if you're going to be working with anyone and taking anyone's money. So it's all about making sure that you give yourself the best opportunity to qualify if that person is the right fit for you. And look, if you send them a complimentary message and they come back with arrogance, or I've had it all. Today, guys, I saw a notification pop up. So I have a team members running my inbox with the outreach, and I saw a notification pop up after we gave a compliment during my last my earlier coaching call, and it said fuck off. And that's to me, but I haven't sent them that message, but it's from my profile. Obviously I'm trying to leverage my time back. And 2 to 3 years ago, I'd even say even shorter than a year and a half, 2 years ago, I still wasn't over, this level of, communication coming from the marketplace. And it's only, and today I laugh it off. I don't even really acknowledge it. I just smile and carry on because I understand the results. And the same day today, we've had 2 new customers onboarded. It's been a great day. And they were both onboarded from these types of messages going out maybe 2 weeks ago. So it's all full circle. You need to know what you're in it for. And if you use that method and you do a line by line approach, it becomes much more human and much more personal.
Amazing. Love that, Aaron. Brilliant. Loved it. And what I want to do now is just, has anyone got any questions they want to ask at this period? Because what I want to do is actually, if anyone wants to ask anything directly to Aaron, use the little hand or just put it in the chat. Either way, it would be good to get some questions from anyone that they want to ask. And what I will just say, just to fill in the gap there, while people might be thinking of any questions they might want to ask, is something I want to touch on. In fact, no, actually, I'll go back to what I was going to say shortly. What I want to ask is for those, because I know there's a couple of people on here that I've had a conversation with in regards to brand deals. So I'm talking about, building, everyone's got their kind of core business. But the bonus with social media is obviously it brings up opportunity where people can reach out and say, look, do you want to be an ambassador? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And then that might take someone off in another direction. So that is another bonus. So there's a couple of people on here, and I know that there's a certain individual as well that would do really well if they were to commit to building their brand and possibly get like clothing deals, just because of the caliber of who they are. So if someone's not confident in order to do that, but you just know that they would do really well, how, or have you seen it? How can someone go about actually building a brand to the point where they can become an ambassador? Or what little tips have you seen where perhaps brands will reach out to people if they do what?
Great question. I was just looking at the gallery view. Just entered into someone's kitchen while they're cooking something.
Yeah, Raj. Of course I was on about you, Raj. I wouldn't be on about anyone else.
Yeah, it's the same method, guys. So again, I can only give you advice from what works for myself, because I wouldn't recommend anything else that I haven't used. It's just not ethical. So there's certain types of adverts or content. So here's a rule of thumb for you guys that I generally use, and that is anything I post on my feed, if I wouldn't run it as an advert, so if it isn't tight enough to be run as an advert and get some kind of conversation going, I wouldn't post it. So unless it serves the purpose of actually being good enough content in terms of the content that's on the actual creative part and the caption and whatever I write on the bottom of it, if there isn't some kind of call to action, it wouldn't be run as an advert. I wouldn't put it up. And that then allows me to kind of focus my energy on what is the outcome of this post. And honestly, guys, it's a business tool. It's a lead generation magnet, the social media content you put out. And that sometimes is sad because I won't share as much. I've got my first born child on the way next month, hopefully, fingers crossed, all safe. But I don't share anything really to do with that apart from on my stories, because I wouldn't run him as an advert yet. Brand deals for brands. But I wouldn't run him without his permission as an advert. And that then obviously is the downside of it. But of course, it's a business tool first and foremost. It's a lead generation tool first and foremost. Now, I get people, very interesting people, reach out to me all the time, and I don't have a significantly large following, guys. I've got like 18K, and that has just grown. Majority of it's grown, guys, through adverts. Literally just putting my content out there, putting money behind it, asking people to message me, and eventually people just start following who appreciate and enjoy the relevancy of the content. That's been over 5 years, and it's never been a goal to generate followers. It's never been my goal to get those numbers up. My goal is to get as many DMs and inbound inquiries as possible from the platform. Even still, I get some significant people. One of them is a very, very big music artist. And this deal took place probably about 8 months ago. I had another business. I had another opportunity that I'd built, and somebody reached out, huge following, massive influence. And like you said, they'll go off in that direction, and you'll lead in that direction and try and balance a new opportunity, which is by all means a fantastic thing that comes as a byproduct of social media. However, what this deal did for me was it distracted my primary again. This, because of the organization or the lack thereof of organization from this individual, because of the amount of effort it was taking from me to make sure it happened the way I wanted it to, and I wasn't being matched, it actually became very detrimental. And it's now I've actually got rid of that project and I'm out of that deal. The deal for a business that I built, and I've handed it over because I just have to cut ties because it is unproductive and toxic and distracting to what is really important. So that's the downside of being susceptible to going off in any direction that influential social media influencers or any kind of big social media clothing brands or cookery brands or any kind of product that approaches you to be an ambassador. That's the downside. Equally, you get the good side, and it's about, again, having that qualification process. And if you are looking to attract that, you need to make sure it's not at the detriment of your primary. And that is one thing that I believe in, Aaron. You know,
yeah,
I've never looked for these partnerships. They've always come as a byproduct to me doing what I do to the best of my abilities, which is be the best marketer I can be as inspiring or as influential as I can be. And that is my, you know, my goal, to help people through business, through marketing. And another deal came through where it's another equally as big person. It's not a music artist. And a lot of the time you'll get these messages and it'll be people outreaching you for blue tick verification and all this other nonsense that's getting flooded, Forex signals, whatever, you name it. And when that happens, you just have to qualify that information out. Now, this one, because I've taken it slower, because I haven't been in any kind of rush to make sure that it's the right deal and the right partnership for me, has gone much steadier. I've set perfect intentions in terms of how I do business because it's a new relationship. And now I'll give you guys a snippet. We're actually looking at building something that has the potential to be sold to Netflix as the end conversion goal. So it's a big project, but the relationships from their side that they've brought, they want us for the implementation, the marketing, and they have the network and the contacts to actually get us to the table. And that came from, you can't attract that. You can't ask for that from the marketplace, but that comes from somebody acknowledging this guy is seriously focused about his craft. I bet he would make a great partner on this project. And now we're actually examining if that is the case and we can work together well. So for me, I've never put anything out there to try and attract those things. Deliver Me, my other business partner, Zach, you know, he first came across me through one of my adverts. Now we're in business together. I invested in his company that he founded, and we've just raised £200,000 on that company. It's all about picking the right ones, but all of these relationships only came to me because I was primarily focused and good at putting out content around what I do best. And if you do that, people will be attracted to you, not just the topic of the conversation you're speaking about. Does that sort of make sense?
Brilliant answer. Yeah. And the fact that you said you can't put content out in order to attract that comes from you, as you know, your branding, everything like that. And basically being open and transparent. Like you said, you can't go and fish for that, this deal that could be an absolutely incredible for you, which is exciting. So
Yeah.
Love that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to come to a couple of questions now, but what I want to ask, if you can give me like a 30-second answer, because I'm interested to hear what you say about this, is that if someone wanted to, let's just say someone was looking for like a clothing brand. So let's say someone was, aesthetically pleasing, stuff like that, and you just thought, you know what, I can make this into, I've got my core business, but I could probably get sponsored by such and such. If someone was looking to get sponsored by River Island or like a big brand, your 30-second answer to, is it beneficial tagging these big brands in on a post that is relevant? So if someone go and buys bought the clothes from River Island, Top Man, Top Shop, wherever it was, and they just keep tagging them in these posts and nice write-ups and they get good engagement, do you think that's beneficial? Just a quick answer on that.
Absolutely. I think it's great. I think if you can tag the products and you're sharing their products without them asking, that can definitely lead to you getting attention. And I've got a live example. My partner runs, a makeup academy that unfortunately can't run right now physically, but it's all going online. And she's been sponsored by tons and tons of different makeup brands simply because she shares brands all the time that don't pay her. And you wouldn't believe how many boxes and Amazon orders ring the bell of our house. It's a nightmare, but it's good for her. It's only not good that I'm here. So yeah, it does work. She tags the brands, she shares stuff, she engages with content, and eventually that's led to her partnering with brands like Selfridges, and yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for that, Aaron. Okay, so let's go to a couple of questions. Shane, you put your hand up first, mate.
Hello. You're right, Aaron. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. It was really good, actually. Wrote down a lot of notes. And you're from Birmingham as well, right?
Yeah. How did you know?
Yeah. your accent, and me too as well. Local Bromley boy. Awesome. So yeah, I just want to talk about Twitter and possibly even go into YouTube a bit. But yeah, Twitter. Would you say I know it's not dead, but is there much of like an engagement there at the moment? Like, would you use it now, starting out, or would you just, because I want to focus my attention on Instagram. Because at one time I was running loads of social accounts like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Best engagement I had was Instagram, and I just sacked Twitter off just because I wasn't getting much engagement on there at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, is that it?
So yeah, so yeah, do you what do you recommend? Do you think not to bother with? Or?
I don't recommend Twitter. Twitter is great from the people who I've seen do Twitter well in terms of my clients. It's a great commentary platform. It's great to just do quick, instant, reactive content to certain things that are going on, trending topics. But as a business tool, I've never got the results or seen the results, even when we try these same kind of tactics as we do on platforms like Instagram. So the short answer is, if you enjoy it, I'd go for it and enjoy it. But as a business tool, I can't recommend it.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on it, so I could be wrong. If you find out, let me know.
Yeah, you're not the first to say that one. So yeah, that's cool. And with YouTube as well, have you got a YouTube channel for your business?
Yeah, so I've got 900 and something subscribers on YouTube. I've put so many hours into my YouTube. I've followed different courses. I actually partnered up with a guy and we went around the world. We did a show in New York, which is called Millennial Marketing Mastery. And he's got like 70,000 subscribers. And I was with him. We did a show in London. We had 100 people. It was amazing. Then we reinvested, went to New York. So I spent a lot of time with this guy. And he was coaching me on my YouTube. He was coaching me on how he gets results for, his products and his sales. It's such a powerful platform. I implemented all of this information. And again, I spent 15 grand on ads over the last 12 months on YouTube ads, the same adverts reformatted, made for YouTube, using the strategies and tactics. And we didn't generate anything in terms of monetary value. We couldn't get that top of funnel to perform well enough to filter down into conversations and filter down into leads that we could then follow up with. It's a huge, huge platform. It's so powerful. It's the one that I haven't cracked yet. And well, there's many I haven't cracked, but it's the one that I've tried to go for. And it has bamboozled me. I've invested in the ads. I've invested in coaches. I've invested in training. Maybe I'm just awful at it. But the thing that I can tell you about it is there are people doing YouTube extremely well. It's an education platform first. So all of the content that has done well has led with education, but it's a big investment. It is a very long-term investment, but if you do stick it out, and anything in life is a great investment, but I couldn't get the returns quick enough from that platform to justify me putting the same amount of energy there that I do into my other activities.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers for that answer. And I do believe what you say. It's with YouTube, it's consistency in the long run, isn't it? I mean, Aaron, you've got your YouTube channel as well, haven't you? And you do that very consistently. And you
80,000 subscribers. Yeah, not bad. I wish. Yeah, it's funny because
oh shit! I should have seen that.
Oh, you bought in? Oh, I should have run with that one. No, the conversion rate is funny because the conversion rate is just not there. You look at people who have got hundreds of thousands on Instagram, and then you look at their YouTube, and they've only got like 1,000. It's hard graft. YouTube is hard graft, but again, for me, it comes down to discipline. Who's committed? Who's willing to put the time in? And look, if it took me 2-3 years, I'm comfortable with that. I think you've got to be content with yourself in regards to all of this. Which has anyone else got a question before I move on to my next point? Because this is going to be very relevant to everyone in lockdown right now. So has anyone got another question before we move on? Or you can leave it in the chat.
I've just got a question. Oh, well, I've just seen a question just referencing TikTok. Again, TikTok, it was fun. We put some hours into it. We made some relevant. I actually hired somebody in my business full-time. Matt Boland is his name. He's a Birmingham guy. He's got like 80,000 TikTok followers. I hired him part-time to add to our content team in-house. And clients absolutely loved hearing that we have a TikTok celeb or influencer on TikTok. on our roster. Oh my God, he's going to come up with the most amazing viral content for our campaigns, our business. So we invested this heavily in TikTok. Again, engagement wise, fantastic. Brand awareness wise, fantastic. But when it comes to taking those people off that platform, come away from TikTok and come to my landing page. It's so instant gratification driven that they don't want to leave. I don't want to go to your landing page. I'm in pure out and out enjoyment mode, hitting the pleasure center in the brain. So business, no, not for me.
I totally agree with that. TikTok is my send me to sleep at night. That really is. So it's that instant pleasure. Raj just put something earlier. How can you brand your posts? Or Raj, I don't know if you wanted to, because I know that you were excited to get on this call with Aaron, but I'm going to put you on the spot now. Did you want to ask anything, or was it just around you brand your post?
You're on mute.
Aaron, can you read sign language?
No. It smells good though. I think my next YouTube video is operating Zoom. Oh, hi, Raj.
Sorry, yeah. Well, that's the first sign. I'm a bit of a granny. I'm the granny of the group. I'm really slow catching up with everything. So like, I see everybody's posting. It's really nicely branded, but I haven't got the foggiest where I would start with it. Do I need to get a branding person to do that, or can I just download a couple of nice apps and just stick in our logo? Don't know.
Aaron, do you want to jump on that one, or?
Yeah, do you know, Raj, because obviously you're a part of the group, you're a big member in our group. I would say, from what I know of you, Raj, because you are so busy, do you know what? Do you know, if I was you, I think I'd just pay someone to do it.
Yeah, but I just want to see the return. I think Aaron hit the nail on the head. I see so many people doing so many things on social media, but what actually generates the return? I do think the engagement's there. Like I think I get a lot of brand awareness through Instagram. I've got a very small following, but it's very local to where I live. So that works in that way. But I'm not getting a big outreach, but I think I need to step it up. But yeah, I agree. TikTok, again, instant gratification. It's not there for business. YouTube doesn't interest me. I'm not saying I'm the average person, but Facebook is too old, seems really complicated. So it is just Instagram. And do you think I'm also limiting myself by the fact that I'm only going to focus on Instagram and nothing else?
I mean,
it
doesn't help that we're both called Aaron.
Well, obviously it's more your area, but I will just give my 2 pence worth, because I know you, Raj, is that I can imagine your brand. I don't know if you wanted me to say your brand out loud, but I know your brand and business would do very well in like really structured, but I know for you it's a big time thing as well. But I do think it would be beneficial. I certainly do, because look, if you were to look at my page, you could work out what I do, but also for me, I think through putting out good content and spending a little bit of time, and like I say, I'm happy to sit there late at night while the world is asleep and do my content because it works for me. But like you say, I'm a big believer in I need to see the return on investment. And I do in the way that the people contact me, and potentially I convert those into clients in regards to investors. So that is something that has. And Aaron, like you said, you raised 200k. I think in the first lockdown, I had something like 320k put on the table. I didn't actually use a penny of it because I made the judgment that none of them were right for me. And the portion of the 320 actually came from one individual, but he was not right for me. He would have been an absolute and utter nightmare. I think you would do really well, Raj. I mean, you do well anyway, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to see your business splattered everywhere. I'd love to be bombarded every morning with your business. I just know you haven't got the time. So I don't know what your take on it is, Aaron.
Yeah, the thing is, you got to put a value on your time at some point. And the clients that have us, we train some clients on how to do it themselves. That's normally the precursor to them getting results and then not having the physical time to manage it themselves, which naturally leads them using our team, because who has the time to go and hire, train, and trust brand new team members to run all of their marketing off, job boards, Indeed, here, there, and everywhere. So that's kind of the natural progression. Perhaps learning it for yourself is the best route to take. There's such great websites and resources. One of the best ones that I'm sure everybody has either heard of or used is canva.com, canva.com. That has template after template of unbelievable designs that are ready to go. Drag and drop your photos, drag and drop your text in, and you can absolutely look like a branding expert just using those templates. Hope there's no branding experts on there. Like, no, you can't. But the other one is on the phone, which is Mojo, and it's Mojo. And that one is, again, a drag and drop software which you can use to build really great Instagram stories, as well as feed posts, you name it. You can drag and drop your content in, and it's free for the most part. And that's just on your mobile phone as well. And Canva, you can use it on your phone as well. You just need some training on the tools. But again, it comes down to the value you put on your own time. Me, myself, personally, I can't sit there designing posts all day myself for my own business, because I charge too much to sit down with a client to be able to transfer my time to doing those lower level tasks. It just has to be deferred. It just has to be delegated. Otherwise, our ship is coming to a halt.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, yeah, there were people walking around behind. Yeah, no, that's been really good. I'm going to start looking into this now. It's my next thing. I do post on my feed, on my story a lot, but don't post much content. And I think it's same as what you said earlier. If it's not an advert to your brand, why would you put it as a post? And a lot of what I do is not an advert to my brand, just me making a lot of noise. So then I end up posting on my story a lot, but nothing on my actual platform. And that's where I need help.
And the quick way to turn any post, it could be you taking a photograph of your desk. The quick way to turn any post into an advert is by simply just putting a call to action on it. Are you in, I don't know what your business is, but are you interested in talking to me about XYZ? Message, and then using your username. And a quick little hack for you guys as well, which we've tested, is if you use on Instagram, message or DM me at your own username, and you do that 3 times versus just doing it once, it actually creates a bigger segment that's easier to press like a button for somebody to go to your profile and hit message, versus them trying to struggle to hit that little piece of data to get to your profile. So if you've got a call to action, generally speaking, you can run it as an advert. So crack on.
Great, thank you. Lots of food for thought there, and my dinner's ready as well.
No pun intended. Brilliant.
Cheers, Raj. Cool.
Thank you.
So what I want to touch on now is just go on to, because this is really relevant as well, especially during a period of lockdown where people are quite fed up. It's quite tough, and especially with the social media, being the brand and who you are, and if you're not involved, you can get left behind, and you don't. And then I think people think if they can't keep up, Aaron, and other people generate business and they take opportunity, then the whole regret kicks in and the comparison. We all do it naturally, because you think, oh bugger, I should have done it myself. It's just that I got fed up, and oh my God, have I lost out on a deal, and it looks like they're doing so well and I'm not keeping up, and blah blah blah. And then you end up actually dogging yourself down and then holding yourself back even more. So something that I'm a big believer in is one, being really content with yourself. So knowing very clear about your journey, about your business, that it is for you. You know, my business here and what I do with my clients and what I'm building isn't for anyone else on this call, vice versa. I think that's really important. The fact that this lockdown's quite tough, it's hit people can't get out, people are fed up. They just want Big Bozza now to sort of say, look, you can get out, you can crack on. But it's not happening. So it is pretty tough. And then on top of everything else, with social media being such a heavy hitter right now, it's almost like social media is everywhere. And if you're not involved, you're losing out and you're not doing that well. That's what people think. So what is your top tips, or what are your mindset in regards to keeping yourself level-headed and actually checking in with yourself and actually saying, do you know what? I'm doing all right. I am where I am. I should be grateful. And if it takes me a little bit longer than it is others, that's fine. And also not comparing your journey and looking at someone who's posting with the Lambo and with the watches and, you know, stuff like that. And by the way, I posted with watches, by the way, but you know.
Yeah, I understand that. Everyone gets the idea, I think.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. There's people who post it because they enjoy it, and there's people who post it as a career, right? And there's 2 different versions of that content, that same content, watches, Lambos. But anyway, I've had the unfortunate experience, like I just told you guys, in the last 8 months of being distracted by those shiny objects that this potential partner brought to the table. He turns out that another partner on that deal, the one who introduced us and originally reached out, has a huge YouTube following as well. So he had 2 million plus subscribers on YouTube, the one chap, and the other chap was an A-list rapper or artist. So these two ticked all my boxes in terms of social media influencers, in terms of reach, in terms of how much money we'd save on ad spend because they could post and reach X amount of people for the business. And then I'll be honest, I was influenced and swayed towards their appeal from those numbers. And because of that, and because of the negative experience, and what I realized is I always knew that vanity metrics and followers and engagement and all of that stuff really doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't help me buy stuff for the baby that's on the way. It doesn't help me live in a pretty nice house. It doesn't help me actually do anything having numbers on an app that represent absolutely nothing in my bank account. And that was reiterated for me the most out of this recent experience, because these guys were, I just laughed because you said, the Lambos, the cars, these guys have built those followings off that type of content. And of course, they've got varying degrees of talent as well in their own area of excellence. There's no, better talent or worse talent. However, it's nothing to do with the life that I'm living and the business that I'm building. I mean, I've got 19 team members who look towards me for leadership. These guys are surrounded probably by 2 or 3 people tops. One of them's a cameraman and the other 2 are yes men or women. And I really just realized the big difference between being in business and being an influencer on social media. And there is a very clear differentiator between the two. And the advice I'd give to anyone is don't have to do what I did, which is go through that negative experience 4 years into my career to realize, wow, what we've got going on is fantastic. And our methods, although not glamorous, although, driven by hard work, output, energy, planning, strategy, overwhelm, all of this stuff is the fuel and ingredients required to make the machine work for you. It's worth it. And it's absolutely worth it. And we're all very blessed and lucky to have these tools and this technology at our fingertips to grow our companies. There's never been a time like it. And that's what keeps me level-headed. I had the negative experience. That was a trigger that really cleared up my mind in terms of where I sit in my marketplace. It really reiterated my value to me even further. And even before that, I never looked at vanity metrics. We never actually did influencer marketing over the last 5 years because of the nightmare stories we've heard about working with influencers. And the first time I did it, I got into a partnership, which thankfully I'm out of. But these numbers, they mean nothing. They absolutely mean nothing. If you're on social media, use it to build, more opportunities for yourself and more transactions in your business, but then ultimately build a really credible, trustworthy brand that people are attracted to, that you can appeal to the right partners and the right kind of investors, customers, you name it. That's what we do it for. Don't get distracted by the shiny objects and those shiny numbers, which mean absolutely nothing.
So that's really interesting. So you were basically exposed very close to those who from the outside were doing very well, the big numbers. I know exactly what you mean in regards to
100%.
you thought, right, boom, I can leverage their following. But actually, when you got close enough, it was not that nice. I can imagine it was not that nice.
It was completely strategic. I'll just put it into context for you guys. 2 million YouTube subscribers, to pay for the impressions on the videos, millions of impressions. We're talking about tens of thousands of pounds in ad spend that I'm saving. So it's a completely strategic business move on my part. However, believe it or not, I'd rather pay the 10 grand for the deal, for the contract with somebody else, so I know what the outcomes are and I know what the deal is. And that's something that I've now learned. I'd rather pay for the value so I get the outcome. I'm not interested in the friendship or the other stuff that, the recreational activities. I'm not in business to be friends with everybody. I'm in business to grow and build a legacy that my children can, enjoy as well. And when you're not aligned on those core values as well, there's no chance that that can succeed. And exposed is the right word. Very, very toxic, unscalable unscalable business people.
And that could come with real negativity as well. And this is just something like, I'm going to share this. I know everyone in my group 2.0 would have heard me say this, but this is the way. I don't know are you aware of Andrew Craig, Aaron? Have you ever heard of that name?
I have heard of that.
So he's a good contact of mine, getting closer now. He's been on my Knightley's roundtable before. He's author of How to Own the World, Live on Less, Invest the Rest, investment banker, biotech investor, dealt in, I think it's something like 6 billion funds in total that he's done in transactions.
Wow.
His network in regards to his email list is 10,000 plus, and probably I would say everyone is a minimum of a multimillionaire. And James, this is something that we spoke about very recently to bring you up to scratch, is we're building a database on my 2.0 group, and the importance, and Raj, I know that this is going to be so important for you as well, is although you haven't got a big following, your customers are loyal and you do a good job, and Raj is an excellent saleswoman. So the service beyond social media is excellent. And I put it very simply like this is, would you rather have your business and your products go out to 100,000 or 200,000 followers on Instagram and 100K on YouTube, where you might bring technically, risky people into your business, or perhaps live wires, or would you rather it go out beneath the scenes, behind closed doors to Andrew Craig? And I use this like an investment business. If you've got a product, go out to Andrew Craig's 10,000 plus investors, and we're talking up to billionaires, by the way. That's like no joke. We're actually talking, when people say billionaires, I always take it with a pinch of salt, but with Andrew Craig, we are actually talking billionaires. He is very much shaking hands with billionaires. Mm-hmm. Would you rather your product go out there to a genuine database that will come back and say, the money's not a problem, and yes, let's actually have a serious chat in a very big office in central London, rather than someone come off the back of social media and they're like, I made 100K off TikTok, I've got a bit of money to splash, yeah, I'll get involved, but I want this in return. And basically you're taking on a live wire. So it's about the quality of people you're actually connecting with. And again, Aaron, doesn't that just come back to relationships? And you've just said you've made a really wise decision by saying, I'd rather pay 10K for quality than rather than actually I might have missed a dodged a bullet here.
Well, yeah, it's about protecting my energy at the end of the time. Yeah. I use real examples, and my energy was getting dragged out to clean up messes that people are just being unreliable with, and the typical problems you hear about celebrities or influencers: unreliability, unprofessional, and I can't work with that. And it's, for me, look, in 5 years we're making a substantially bigger amount of money than I thought we would when I started, and it's less about the money we make. It's more about how we make that money now. It's more about sustainability. It's more about ethics. It's more about the people in my business having a good time whilst they're working in my company. Company culture is one of my highest priorities now. So, these people often are always looking for their next deal or their next kind of sponsorship or their next kind of opportunity through social media. Sometimes you can be at the wrong end of that, and if your energy isn't protected, anybody can approach you on social media, so you just have to be very scrutinous about who you accept into. Even just by accepting them into your inbox, you're now giving them a license to message, like 007 license to kill. They can now get in contact with you direct, and don't take that lightly, because there's a hell of a lot of influence and persuasion that can come after that.
Yeah, really agree. And I'll just finish on that before I move on to the next point. I use this example because this is something very close to what I'd done. And I really had to sit down and think about it, is that where I work with certain investors, from when I was growing up, I used to play sort of high level football, and some of my connections and contacts are first team players at Brighton and Hove Albion, and a couple of other Premier League now teams where I still know the first team players. And I could go on to do business financially with a couple of them who have suggested certain things. And the reason I haven't chose to do that is because if it ever did go wrong, although they are technically classed as a high net worth investor, which means they are certified to invest, and they've got collateral financial, positioning to spend that money, if it were to go wrong, they can scream from the rooftops and make one hell of a noise, which can bring me down in a moment. And it could not even be down to me, because I basically structure them with certain clients. So it wouldn't even be my fault, but they could bring me down in a heartbeat. So although financially I could do very well off of it, and almost tap into a fund that is seriously backed. Long term, for my vision, it's not worth it, because I could come crashing down, because they can make so much noise on social media and in the media, and drag everyone else who's involved. So that's just another point, is don't jump into bed with the first person who's got big numbers and you think, oh my God, I can leverage here. So awesome points there, really important points to note down as well. So just coming to a close on the final few points. What's your thoughts on self-education? It's a big part for me. I'm self-taught, and how important has your education been to where you are now?
Self-education is huge. I was lucky enough when I started the business to get a loan from the Prince's Trust, £4,000 loan. That lasted us about 3 weeks in terms of trying to get things done. But they assigned me a mentor. They assigned me my first legitimate, business mentor. And he's now actually one of the head of global sales at LinkedIn itself. And his name's Phil Edwards. And this guy has basically operated as kind of a non-executive director from the moment he saw what I was trying to achieve. And he's been there throughout. And that then led, because I thought I knew it all, starting a business at 25 years old, I had this huge confidence, misplaced confidence about what I could do, probably what I needed to get to where we are. But at the time, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about how to generate results. I didn't know how to make relationships. I didn't know where to find clients. I didn't know anything. And he actually led me to my first kind of knowledge and understanding that I need someone to guide me. I need people and coaches who can guide me, help me, shape me. And since then, over the last 5 years, courses, books, mentors for me, but the ultimate investment and the ultimate experience that I've learned from the most is just the experience itself, the failures, taking risk, calculated risk, sometimes too much risk. And that can just be overspending on adverts for a month and having no profit at the end of the month left in the business. Last month we made a 4K loss. That was anticipated because we've got more office space, more staff. We hired 4 staff that we got on, a temporary probationary period to see if they're worth keeping. But that's over, leveraging in a way as well sometimes. And if you keep doing that, you're going to end up in a bad place. But I'm happy to make those mistakes. Even now, I'm happy to lose money in business as long as I can make sure that I won't make that mistake again. I need that pain. I need the failure. I need the embarrassment in some cases. I need that pain to drive me to understand my next actions better and to operate with only the information that works and not just the information that everybody is saying works, which for me, I need to see it to believe it. So an example of that in my own program for the agency side is these guys come down to the office after they've done the full day of training, and they just sit with my team and see all of our processes and systems for themselves without any influence from me, without anybody watching what they see. They sign their NDAs, they sign their contracts, and they can observe exactly how we do business so that they have that ultimate confidence that what they've been taught actually works. And I've been lucky enough to demand that of some of my mentors, where, look, don't just teach me, show me. Don't just tell me, show me how this works. And self-education comes in many forms. That for me is the most powerful, is just doing it and failing, failing forwards, as somebody once said.
Yeah, I love that. Learning along the way. That's the best way. You can try and plan for it as much as you can, right? But that's one thing. And I've lost money, is that even like with investments, I've invested into things that I thought were golden. And I got the hype feeling of someone else investing in it. And then I jumped straight on it and lost money from it. But like you said, it won't ever happen again. I won't ever lose that money again. So I understand what went wrong. I understand that I never should commit to something I don't fully understand. So there's a lot of learning from mistakes. So that's awesome. Shane, I know you asked it. It was a question anyway that I'm going to ask. Aaron, have you got any certain, books that have stuck out? Any, Audible? Are you a hardback book reader? And if so, what books would you recommend or have made an impact?
You know what? I've actually got them right here on my desk. So let's get the runway underway. This book right here, guys, don't worry, it's not my book. I have got a book, but it's for agency owners. But this book really became gold dust when I was searching for how to be a better CEO, because previous to hiring so many team members, I didn't know that I needed an executive team. I didn't know I needed middle management. I thought I could just have 100 employees and no one to actually keep them performing and keep them happy. And I bought 4 books on how to be the best CEO that I could be. And this one stood out from the rest, which is The Great CEO Within. And this is all about, sorry, the lights on it, The Great CEO Within, which is all about the tactical guide to company building by a guy called Matt Mockery. And everything in there is actionable. Everything in there is actionable advice. There's a system in there called the Get Things Done system, which is all about setting a goal, the next steps, and a waiting for list for everything you're trying to achieve on a weekly and monthly and quarterly basis. You know, you've got your goal. What do you need to do next? What are you waiting for? Ticking that off, it just gets things moving. It gets you thinking about things. Team building, how to keep your teams engaged, keep them happy. You know, automation. I've said it so many times in the beginning of this call. Everything in my life, everything in my business has to be automated so that I can regain my life back, my time back. I want to stay at home with my child when he's born. I don't want to be answering calls and putting out fires in my business. That's what I need to hire people to do. Another great book, which was actually gifted to me, is this book right here, which is called The Almanac of Naval, Ravikant, or whatever, however you pronounce that. This is all about work-life balance. So this one, I haven't actually finished it, but it's all about the work-life balance and making sure that your wealth is accompanied by happiness. And again, that's for me is so important now. It's not about how much money we make. It's not just about vanity numbers in terms of profits and sales figures. I want everyone to be happy. I want energy in my business to be good. I want my clients to be buzzing, quality assured. And I want to have a healthy work-life balance where I can enjoy myself and enjoy the rewards of the business that we're in. But yeah, those two, there's a bookshelf right there. Yeah, those are the two that really stuck out for me of recent times.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that for those recommendations. What I'll do is I'll just, as we come to a close, Raj, I'm just going to come straight over to you. Got to figure out how to take it off mute now. There we go.
Hi, Aaron. Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I just put the question up actually. So you one of the things that you just touched on about being a CEO, well, I'm nowhere near being a CEO, but we've got a team and we do lots of things in property and finance.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm sort of jack of all trades, and I wouldn't say I'm obsessive in doing things myself. That's not it. I don't trust other people to do it well enough, and I can't be bothered to manage people. I don't want to become a manager, and I always try and see how other people develop. Do you feel like since you've grown your business and you've got a massive team that you're still being boss and being involved?
It's all about perspective, isn't it? 19 people, 24 total, including contractors. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But what was the question again? Does it feel like...
So there's a couple of things. One, how have you grown into your role? But the main thing was, did you fear growing, building a team? Because I don't actually want to build a team, not because I don't want a team, because I don't want to manage them.
Yeah, I'm actually a terrible manager. That is why I've got books on how to be a great CEO, because I identified quickly I'm really not good at... The problem I have is, as a consultant, as a marketer who charges tens of thousands of pounds to give advice, and that comes across so poorly, but please forgive me, it's the truth. When it comes to investing that same time with my own team, I don't have the patience that I would with a client. And certain things that come natural to the leader in a business, certain energy levels, certain attitudes, certain behaviors that as leaders in our own organizations, all of you on this call, it comes normal. And then when you don't see that same attitude and behavior pattern in someone else, you can lose and flip the switch straight away and damage the relationship with them, when ultimately you're trying to leverage their time and buy-in to make your life easier. So how did I grow into the role? I'm still growing into the role. I am learning every single week how much I desperately need new positions in my business, because as soon as I hired 3 people, what I didn't realize is I need someone to manage them. And I tried to be the manager myself, and the patience, the empathy, and the level of time, just time that is needed to be invested into these people is not available from the CEO of a business. There's too many departments you need to oversee when you start scaling up your teams. You've got legal and accounting, you've got sales, you've got marketing, you've got delivery of your service. For you, legal, probably your underwriters if you're doing finance and stuff. So what you need to do is, well, not you, but what I had to do is I had to naturally start assigning positions of leadership. So I've got 6 people who sit beneath me on the organizational chart. There's me at the top. I've got a co-director who's here. He's our head of sales. I've got head of finance who handles all of our accounting. He's part-time. I've got an operations manager who's actually my partner because I needed her organization. And maybe that's why, you know, my work-life balance is good, because she's organized my own personal life and she's now doing it in the business. So I meet with these individuals and I set on a weekly basis, I set the key objective. I set the key objective based on my analysis of where we are as a business and our overall goals as a company. And then in each one of those departments, accounting, legal, sales, marketing, finance, whatever, they all have their own sub goals that need to come together to be able for the people who are actually doing the work and delivering those services, for those people to be effective. These guys in the middle, they're the executive team. They report to me. So now I become more strategic, more analytical. And that's not easy because you don't know the data you need all the time. But one thing that is absolutely certain is the CEO doesn't necessarily have to be the greatest manager. You don't have to, you know, your limiting belief right now is that I don't want to grow a team because I don't want to manage them. So grow a team and hire a manager. What's the problem?
Yeah, well, that's it. But the thing is, it's about.
It's an
yeah, I have to just.
You need a structure, just like with your social media. You need a structure. You need a roadmap. And look, this is something, you know, each one of those departments, it requires its own level of attention. It's the sales team. The way I built my sales team, we've got 6 sales staff. And the way I've built that team is completely different to the way I've built and the values and the attributes I'm looking for in my delivery team, the marketers, the guys and the girls who are building, designing, creatively thinking. These guys are consultants. They're just giving free strategy calls day in, day out, advising people on what the best way to use social media is. The other ones, they're actually doing it for companies. The way I've built those 2 teams are completely different. Now, I've just been recently hired, and it's so difficult as well. Please don't get it misunderstood. It is so challenging, so difficult. But one way to start is by having the right tools. So we've just implemented some unbelievable softwares when it comes to team management. And I hope this helps any of you who have more than, you know, yourself in your businesses. One of them is called Time Doctor 2. So this is actually a screen monitoring software, £4 a user. Now, if you're using contractors, if you're using staff members, right now, everyone's working remote, and you need to know that their time that you're paying them for is managed, that they're actually getting the work done. This software attributes what they're doing when it's on their device. So now performance is monitored. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So that's Time Doctor. The second one that we've just recently adapted to is an unbelievable for sales, for, you know, managing the call performance, for making sure accuracy is in your organization, because we're going to get to a certain level where if you don't have enough management, people are going to be doing whatever the hell they want and saying whatever the hell they want. I've seen it and I've witnessed the negative comeback of that. Is Cloud Call. The software is called Cloud Call. It is a virtual online. So now every team member has a headset that plugs into their laptop, and every phone call is monitored and recorded, and it can be recorded live. So now I'm monitoring everything my team's doing from a screen point of view, which is where their work takes place. I'm monitoring every phone call. I'm not personally monitoring it. To be quite honest with you, I don't even want to look at it because it's another job that I have to delegate. But the reports on there, my executive team look after their teams. They report back who's leading in terms of productivity, who's leading in terms of client customer satisfaction. Let's reward those people. And then ultimately, who isn't leading the pack? And how do we train those people, not discipline them, not tell them off, not beat them over the head with a stick, which is my initial CEO approach. But that quickly got old. So how do we actually train, invest more time, resources, and energy into our least performing team members to help them succeed in helping our organization grow? And, you know, like I said, I've just been hired to actually implement a sales team for another marketing agency who have a big investment behind them. And I've charged them $6,000 for a full day and all of our resources, mainly the resources I've just shared with you guys, those 2 softwares, but how to administer them, you know, the templates we've built in those softwares, the dashboards, all of that stuff. So they're buying the resources and also my implementation and leadership in those resources. But the reason they're happy to pay that fee for a day is because it is so hard, it is so difficult. And I can tell you firsthand, building teams is the most challenging part of my business right now. But with the right tools and with the right leaders in place that take time to find and take time to attract to your business as well, which is, again, another huge thing people don't realize. My social media is a recruitment tool. It helps me attract amazing talent to the business, people who are really involved with marketing. If you can do that and you can put the right people in place to lead these teams and use these softwares, your life will be a lot better. And what you'll be able to do is, look, I put that package together to do that training for this sales team build. I love it. I absolutely love working with clients. That's why I still do it. I could just sit back and let Jack, my co-director, run the show and just take my profit. But now I just focus my energy on the areas in the business which I really, really enjoy, which is connecting with customers. That's it. Now I get to live my passion and get to steer the ship and try and build a company culture which works for everyone.
Brilliant.
Work in progress, though, work in progress. And that's what I'd recommend for you. Don't just look at, you know, you don't want to be a manager. Hire a manager. Hire someone who's great at training people and getting the best out of them. And you be the leader that you were born to be.
I don't think I'm a leader. I just think I'm good at sales.
Well, that's it. You're unscalable. You are unscalable. I'm unscalable. I could do more deals over the phones with a word limit. Right, with a word limit, I could do more deals than any one of my sales team, but I'm unscalable. I can't triple myself. So if you're unscalable, you're not thinking long term.
100%. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like that. What I'll do, Raj, after, I think something that you'll like, actually, I'm going to send you a guy called Simon Sinek, a couple of his videos. But yeah, Vignes, thanks for joining, mate. I'm going to wrap up now anyway, so I appreciate you joining. Well, Aaron, just a massive, massive thank you for sharing all your knowledge, your experience, your journey, you know, everything that, you know, you specialize in, and sharing that with us, because there's huge takeaways there. So, you know, really appreciate you joining the roundtable, and also to everyone joining, because also it shows massive commitment on your part in order to learn from the speakers that are brought on. So, Aaron, massive, massive thanks again. Hopefully in the future we can do something again, something cool.
100%. I'm really grateful. Like I said, I'm really grateful for everyone for just sparing the time, and everything that we're doing is a work in progress. So, you know, implement what works and learn from what doesn't. Yeah, awesome. Look forward to doing something in the future for sure. So cool. Can everyone smile for a picture? Raj is getting a photo there. Aaron's going to hold that photo, that picture. She's taking a selfie. Yeah, we'll be here a while. The worst thing is you don't know when she's done. There we go. Cool. All right, awesome. Well, I will wrap it up. And Aaron, again, many thanks, and everyone have a good weekend, and I'll speak to all of you very soon. Take care. Cool. Cheers, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.